And so we overcooled, and now we need it to warm back up. So our teeth are chattering up here, but we're gonna make it happen. I have had lots of calls this week about what are we gonna do about makeup days. And I just wanna say that there is a plan in place. They need more information from the governor and other places, but you will know soon. Is that good enough? Okay. All right. Well, with that, I'd like to welcome you to the Tuesday, September 18th, 2018 meeting of the Lexington County School District 1 Board of Trustees. We're glad that you are spending your evening with us. Board, do I hear a motion to adjourn executive session and begin general session? Thank you, Dr. Pitts. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Green. Any discussion? We'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
And the motion carries. I'd like at this time to call to order the general session and notify you that that the district tapes this meeting for the accuracy in preparing the minutes. We are in compliance with the South Carolina Freedom of Information Act by notifying the media of the date, time, and place of the meeting. And Ms. Hill, do we have any media folks with us? Okay, thank you very much. Anyone? Okay, all righty. And at this time, I would like to call on Ms. Smith for her invocation.
Hey, please join me as you feel led. Lord, thank you for bringing the families of the Midlands safely through the storm. We appreciate your guiding hand that kept us safe. I pray your hand of safety and guidance upon all the victims of the North Carolina and South Carolina regions, which have been impacted by Hurricane Florence. Bless these people, Lord, and keep them safe. Do not let the floodwaters cause them harm. Drive back the floods to protect their homes and their precious children. Bless the first responders and the volunteers working to keep people safe. God, I pray that you would quiet the storms and chase the rain clouds away. We thank you for all of the many blessings you grant us every day. Please place your guiding hand upon this meeting and help us make decisions that honor you and the students of Lexington County School District 1. Amen.
Board members, you have an agenda before you. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Anderson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Pitts. Any discussion? We'll take a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries. Board members, you were provided draft minutes for review and approval, and other than the corrections we have already provided, are there any additions or corrections to the minutes of these meetings? Hearing none, the minutes will be accepted and received. Item 7.0 are action items from executive session. Do I hear a motion to approve 2 certified recommendations for the 2018-2019 academic year?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the 2 certified recommendations for the 2018-2019 school year as presented by Human Resources.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Do I have a second? Okay, thank you, Ms. Green. Any discussion? We'll take a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries. Do I hear a motion to approve 1 administrative recommendation for the 2018-2019 academic year?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve 1 administrative position for the 2018-2019 school year as presented by Human Resources.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Smith. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Anderson. Any discussion? We'll take a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries. There was a contractual matter discussed in executive session. No action will be taken as a result of that discussion. The board also received and discussed legal advice concerning pending lawsuits. No action is required as a result of that discussion. And Dr. Little, I'm going to ask you to step down for our favorite time of the meeting, our honors and achievement. Honorees, when we call your names, come and stand with our superintendent while we tell the audience about your awards. We celebrate successes of many kinds during the honors and achievements portion of our monthly board meeting. We recognize students who have won first, second, or third place national level awards and first place state level awards, the significant achievements of our employees, and the contributions of and partnerships with our business partners and community organizations. We happily celebrate our students and staff achievements tonight, and we feature the students, staff, and schools we recognize in our Proof Positive newsletter. If you did not pick one up when you signed in tonight, do that on your way out. It makes a great keepsake for our honorees and for their families, and in fact, you're welcome to take an extra copy if there's a family member who could not be here tonight. Audience, you need to know that we will recognize our honorees in a different order than what you see in Proof Positive. If you try to follow along in the newsletter, you may need to skip back and forth from page to page. And finally, we ask that you please stay until we finish recognizing all of tonight's award recipients, as each award winner deserves our undivided attention. Once we finish with this awards portion of the meeting, we will give you a chance to leave before we resume the rest of our meeting. And we do this in order to accommodate our youngest honorees and their families. So tonight, we are going to begin with a group of students who competed at this summer's 4-H State Horse Show. Carolina Springs Middle's Eliza Allison, Lexington High's Lonnie McKenzie and Haley Williamson, and Pleasant Hill Middle's Molly Kazimko impressed the judges with their knowledge of equestrian sports and control of their horses. Eliza won four first place ribbons, and Lonnie and Haley both won 3 first place awards, and Molly took home 2 first place awards. Haley also won a $500 scholarship and a trip to the National 4-H Congress in recognition of her leadership and participation in 4-H. Congratulations. We spin the globe and land on our next honoree, Lexington High's Catherine Dew. Mrs. Dew currently teaches AP Human Geography, World Geography, and Economics at Lexington High School and brings the world into her classroom with unique methods. The Geography Teacher Fellow Program honors the top 50 geography teachers in the country, and she earned the title of Geography Teacher Fellow. As a teacher fellow, she will attend the American Geographical Society's Fall Symposium held at Columbia University in New York in November. There, these educators gain cutting-edge knowledge and awareness of the real-world geographic workplace skills required by today's employers. We cannot wait to see what Mrs. Dew brings back to us. Congratulations. Oh, awesome. We are quite proud of this next achievement. Multiple Lexington District 1 educators completed a valuable learning experience that equips them to better serve students from schools with higher poverty. Let's bring up our Teachers of Children of Poverty cohort. Special Services psychologists Sarah Childers and Stephanie Robinson. They're here. Come on down. Forts Pond Elementary Assistant Principal Stephanie Taylor, Gilbert Middle Teacher Ann Pilot, Lake Murray Elementary Teacher Melissa Apperson, Lexington Middle Assistant Principal Elizabeth Wisnett, Midway Elementary Teacher Katina Rader, Pelion Elementary Teachers Tracy Jackson, Beverly Potts, and Ruth Ann Treaster, Pelion Middle Teacher Shelley Martin, Saxgotha Elementary Teacher Casey Hart, and White Knoll Middle Teacher Deidre Foote. After being one of the first groups in the state to complete the Teachers of Children of Poverty course requirements, this cohort also received the Lauren W. Anderson Award for Excellence from Francis Marion University. This award honors our educators for their hard work and implementation of tools and resources that make a difference for all of our students. Congratulations. Congratulations. Awesome. Awesome. Reading Recovery Teacher Leader Training Scholarship winner Peggy Phillips enrolls in a unique program. After winning a $15,000 scholarship from the Reading Recovery Council of North America, she will participate in a year of reading recovery training at Clemson University. She will then share her knowledge and new skills with district administrators and teachers. The award also allows her to attend the Reading Recovery Council of North America National Conference. An educator for 23 years, Ms. Phillips recently became the district's Reading Recovery Teacher Leader while continuing to serve struggling readers at White Knoll Elementary. Congratulations. We're going to switch gears and go to Athletic Trainers Association. Under the direction of head athletic trainer and assistant athletic director George Wham, Pelion High won another accolade for athlete safety. The National Athletic Trainers Association named Pelion High School as a safe sports school, the second award of its kind since 2014. This award recognizes schools that take crucial steps to keep their athletes free from injuries. Steps include promoting appropriate practice in competition facilities, ensuring proper maintenance of athletic equipment, and developing injury and illness prevention strategies. Led by Dr. Wham, Pelion High School received the Safe Sports School Award for meeting all of the recommended and required elements. Congratulations on this achievement. And thank you for everything you do for Pelion Athletics. That is awesome. That's great. Wonderful. That is wonderful. Our next group comes from both Pleasant Hill Elementary and Pleasant Hill Middle Schools. So let's bring up Pleasant Hill Elementary Principal Margaret Mitchum, if she's here, and there she is, and PTA representatives Amanda Morrison and Bridget Winston. And now I need Pleasant Hill Middle Principal Thomas Rivers and PTA representative Dina Johnson. So both school PTAs received the School of Excellence designation from the National PTA. This honor recognizes them for developing strong family-school partnerships. Schools of Excellence also create and implement an action plan for school improvement based on the PTA national standards. As schools of excellence, both schools continue competing for the National PTA Phoebe Apperson Hurst Award, which includes a $2,000 grant. So congratulations. Staying with Pleasant Hill Middle, would dance teacher Jennifer Coffey come forward? Ms. Coffey successfully applied for an Arts Curricular Innovation Grant from the South Carolina Department of Education and won a $12,500 grant for Pleasant Hill Middle. With that, the school will purchase a mobile lab with cutting-edge editing software and DSLR cameras for use across all arts areas in their Designing Our Future in the Arts program. The mobile lab allows approximately 900 students to work with industry-standard technology to create, design, and produce original works in many forms. We thank Ms. Coffey for working hard on this grant application and helping grow her skills at artistic program. Next, Special Olympics honored Pleasant Hill Middle with the title of Special Olympics National Banner Unified Champion School. So congratulations, Dr. Rivers, Ann Peterson, and Christine Rivers, and Mary Ashley Rodriguez. Ms. Rodriguez helped with this project before her move to Lexington Elementary this year. In 2014, Pleasant Hill Middle began offering unified sports to provide students with and without special needs an opportunity to team up and compete together. Participation grows each year. The school also features unified athletes in pep rallies, holds send-off when those athletes compete at Special Olympics. School leaders believe supporting this program increases all students' awareness. We salute their efforts. Congratulations. Oh, Alicia Verberg. Yep. Thank you for your help. Our next award goes to the entire district. So rightly so, we invite Dr. Little to come forward. Niche, a national website, provides parents with information on the best educational resources in their area. Niche bases rankings and grades on a rigorous analysis of academic and student life data from the U.S. Department of Education, along with test scores, student proficiency, teacher salary, parent surveys, and heavily weighted academic information. Lexington District 1 received an A+ in activities and administration, an A- in teachers, health, and safety, and an A in sports and facilities, as well as a B+ in academic diversity and college prep. These grades resulted in an overall A- for the district. In fact, every Lexington District 1 school earned a B or higher. And when comparing all 81 school districts in South Carolina, the district ranked 5th overall, 8th in school safety, 9th in the best places to teach, and 2nd in the Midlands. So we congratulate all our employees and students on this honor. And our final presentations comes from our community partners in the Educational Foundation. So if the Educational Foundation Executive Director, Ms. Julie Washburn, will come forward now to talk about a donation from Michelin. And I know you have some people to introduce.
Thanks for your time. And before I introduce our special guest, I want to ask a couple of people internally to join me. Although Simeon's not a staff member, Simeon Bryant is our board chair with the Educational Foundation, and I work very closely with him. He's been awesome to step on board for a second year in a row to be chair. So I want to ask him to join me, as well as Rosemary Bianchi. Rosemary's primary role is with the Lexington Technology Center, but last year she actually oversaw the district's first high school robotics team. We're doing things a little bit differently, and she'll head up the LHS LTC team, but she's been awesome to share in the community and with my foundation the importance of robotics in education in our district, so I appreciate her help in that regard. But tonight we have with us Mike Williams, who's the personnel manager from Lexington. And for those who may not realize it, Michelin is already a very significant partner with the district. They provide mentors to Saxe-Gotha and Red Bank elementary schools. Every year, you know, they continue to do that. They provide, normally I'm here because of Michelin Golden Apple teacher grants. We awarded those last board meeting, so they provide those on an annual basis. And they've done so many other things in supporting the foundation in our district, so we are extremely grateful. But Mike's here to announce a new partnership.
Good evening, everyone. Again, I'm just really proud to be here to represent Michelin in partnership with Lexington District 1. One of the things that we really aspire to do as part of our Michelin Challenge Education is to create partnerships with our community that works on things that help grow the community, helps grow the individuals in this community. Part of that is helping our young people to develop skills that will continue to help them grow throughout their careers, but help also provide a boost to our economy and help provide great intellectual employees to our company. So one of the ways in which we want to be able to do that is partnership with on the technical side, because we're a technical company, right? We produce the best tire in the world, okay, by far, okay?
Sure, true,
So,
true.
so you know, you have a test. I can't do a Michelin presentation without asking two things. One, when you tomorrow, when it's sunlight outside, find out what brand of tires are on your car. If they're not Michelin, go buy some, okay? And then secondly, I have to give this other test, and it's just a great opportunity for me here. If you had to replace only two tires on your vehicle, do you put those brand new 2 tires on the front or the back, or does it depend? Depends on the type of drive? Who say it depends on the type of drive? Who say put it on the front? Who say put it on the back? Who say I really don't know? Okay. So, always, if you have to replace 2 tires, always put them on the back. No matter if it's a front-wheel drive vehicle, all-wheel, or rear-wheel. Because if you lose control in wet weather, you get to steer with your front. But if you lose your back tires, you have no control, okay? So having brand new tires with the better tread depth needs to go on the back, okay? All right, so that's my lesson for today. I feel like I'm a teacher, I'm good.
So we learned something tonight.
Yes, listen,
Thank you so much.
If we're in a school setting, we got to be learning, right? We got to be learning. But quite frankly, I bring that up because part of the program that we're partnering with right now is about teaching technology, is about teaching them the fine, mechanics of tire making. And working together with Lexington District 1, with this district, on a robotics program that will help, fine-tune the intellectual mind of your students will mean so much. And I'm just really proud to be part of a company who does commit so much to the community because we're here, okay? And this is part of helping the economy, helping our people, helping our students, teachers, and helping stay safe on the road. So it is with great pleasure that Michelin presents to this great district a $30,000 grant, or not grant, just $30,000 for robotics for a robotics program that we will do throughout the district. So congratulations to you all.
Michelin is already so committed to the education of our students, and this is just one more step in proving what a wonderful corporate partner they are. It's over a 3-year span. They're also going, besides providing money, they're providing mentors for our students, so they're going to have expertise working with the high school teams, definitely, and a couple of other teams. So we are very thrilled and appreciative of everything, Mike.
Our special thanks to Michelin for always supporting our schools. And audience, thank you for taking the time tonight to help us recognize the many honors and achievements of our students and staff and the many generous contributions of our local businesses and community. We love to share this good news with you. And honorees, when you leave the meeting, remember to head to your left into the lobby where a member of communications office will help you find your certificate. And now, just as I promised, we hope you stay for the remainder of our board meeting. However, if you need to leave, we'll give you a quick and quiet moment to do that now. Okay, all righty. We're at 9.0 on our agenda, and that is citizens' participation. And do we have anyone that would like to speak or ask question of the board? Okay, do we have any cards that you know of?
We had none turned in, but I have some if we need one.
Okay, all right. Anybody? This is your chance. Okay, well, I won't read all of that then, since we don't have anyone. We will go to item 10.0, which are our action items, and we'll go to Dr. Talley first for student travel requests.
Thank you, Ms. Knight. I do have, for the board's approval tonight, 18 student travel requests. I've reviewed each of those, and they're in compliance with board policy.
Okay, all right. So do I hear a motion to approve 18 student travel requests?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the 18 student travel request as presented by Dr. Talley.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Do we have a second? Second. Okay, Ms. Green, thank you so much for your second. And any discussion? All right, we'll take a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries. Item 11.0 is a superintendent's report, and I will turn that over to our superintendent, Dr. Greg Little.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. As you can tell, we have a number of reports tonight, so I'm going to keep my comments brief. I would like to point out that recently the General Assembly expanded state law to require employers with 15 or more employees to provide reasonable accommodations for medical needs arising from pregnancy, childbirth, or related medical conditions. In response, the district updated its anti-discrimination statement to include explicit protections for pregnancy, childbirth, and related medical conditions. In fact, one of the sentences says, therefore, the district does not discriminate against any individual on the basis of race, religion, sex, including pregnancy, childbirth, or any other related medical conditions, color, disability, age, genetic information, national origin, or other applicable status protected by local, state, and federal law. At the same time, the district updated the rest of the statement to include a location on our website where individuals can see who the district designates to handle inquiries or complaints about discrimination. And to find out who to contact or how to contact them, you can certainly go to our website at www.lexington1.net/contact-us. At the next monthly board meeting, we will bring several policies that need changes due to the change in the law to the board for first reading. So we will bring that to you then.
Okay.
But I did want to make that announcement that we have updated the anti-discrimination statement, and our policies will soon follow. I believe y'all heard about this for the first time at the South Carolina School Boards Association August conference. And so that is part of our compliance with these efforts. I'd also like to say, we have, earlier today, we completed our board workshop. And one of the things that I failed to mention as I sat up here, because we were getting towards the end of the time and we needed to go get executive session started, I just want to say yet again how pleased I am to work with such incredible professionals. The group of people that you see sitting over here are absolutely fantastic, and they make the work that happens, they make the magic that happens in this school district, and I'm so very pleased. And you included Dr. Phillips, who is going to present again here in a moment, Mary Gaskins, Tracy Pender, among others, and Ryan Poole, and I mean, I'm just looking out here and I can start naming people, and Mary Gaskins, I mean, I can't tell you how awesome these folks are, and I shouldn't start naming people, because the moment I start naming people, I forget people. So Van, I see. I mean, again, I got everybody. I'm looking at you all, and I appreciate you all. But today was a great example when you see of all the wonderful accolades this school district gets. I am fortunate to be the person in charge, and sometimes I get to take credit for all the great things. But I will tell you, the people who really deserve the credit for the great things happening in this school district, so many of the leaders that we have here tonight, and I'm just very thankful for them. So I just wanted to say that. Now, that being said, we do have some reports that we want to get to tonight. Dr. Phillips is going to do a two-part series starting tonight. and also in October, and maybe even a little November if we're lucky, on some accountability numbers and some accountability data that he's going to share with us tonight. So, and I don't want to steal his thunder, but some of the stuff that is not been released yet. So, it's an incomplete picture tonight, but we're gonna share what we can.
No.
It may take a second.
How about now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Okay, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Little, hello again. So as Dr. Little said, things are kind of coming out piecemeal this fall as far as test data. So what we decided to do is release some of this stuff as it came out so that you guys could see it as it was released and be updated. So just a couple real quick things. We were supposed to have end of course data by this time, but Florence delayed that plan at the state level, and so those will be shared at the next meeting. So what I'll be sharing with you tonight are SC Ready and SC Pass scores for this past year. So as a reminder, SC Ready is our math and English language arts assessment for the state. It's given to grades 3 through 8. And as you recall, the grade 3 ELA test, the reading portion of it, is used to determine that grade 3 retention thing for Read to Succeed. And then SC Pass is our science and social studies assessment. And that is administered, this is new this year, to alternating grades beginning in grade 4. So grades 4, 6, and 8 will take science, and then 5 and 7 took social studies. So in an effort to simplify this, I divided, so the SC Ready scores come in 4 categories: not met, approaches, met, and exceeds standard. Okay, so I've divided this basically into 2: those who meet our grade level standards and those who did not, so something below met. So the meets plus is the area where we're talking about here. So these are students who met or exceeded grade level standard. And so for all our grades in ELA, 49.3% of our students met or exceeded standards, which is 8.1 points higher than the state's rate. For math, that value was 51.4%, which was about 7.4% points higher than the state. For ELA, if we look at it at trends over time and across grades, we have a 3-year trend here. So you can see that things pretty much in all grades kind of took a dip last year and then popped back up. Something that you probably need to know, and if you remember, this year was the first year they decided to do online testing in 2017. Okay, that was the first year we implemented that. Last year, we requested a waiver for grade 3 on that test. And so we got a little bit more of a jump there last year, and people got used to testing online. Now you can see that in some grades we have a little bit of a downward trend there that we need to be aware of and cognizant of and try to address that issue at that grade level. For math, here's the 3-year trend across grades. So this, again, this is the percent meeting or exceeding standard. So you can see the trends across grades. Now we're talking about SC Pass. So this is where things get a little bit confused. Science is using the same scale as ELA and math. That is new this year. And so they're using the 4-point scale, whereas, so the does not meet, approaches, meets, and exceeds. So again, we're looking at meets and higher here, and that's 56.9%, which is 8.1 points higher than the state. And then for social studies, they're using the old pass 3-point scale, so not met, met, and exemplary. Okay, so what we're looking at here is met and higher. So that's part of the reason why this is so much bigger, because this MET basically includes 2 categories from the 3-point or 4-point scale that science uses. So in social studies, we had 76.3% of our students met or exceeded standard, which is 8.1 points higher than the state. Trends across years, again, I only included 2 years because they changed that scale from the 3-point scale to the 4-point scale last year. And so, or excuse me, I keep saying last year, in 2017. And so we're looking at similar values here for 2 years in science. And again, I only compared those grades that were tested last year so that we were comparing apples to apples there. And then here we go, grades 5 and 7, social studies over 3 years. This is the percent met or exemplary. So we're hovering right around 75 in grade 5, and there's a little bit more variability in grade 7, but again, around 75, 74, 75 there across those grades, across those years. And that is my update. Now, further on, as things get released, we'll be bringing to you end of course tests for the 8th grade and high school. We'll be bringing to you SAT and ACT. And then later in November, when those are released, we'll be bringing to you report card values, because this year we are getting school level ratings for report cards.
I do want to remind the board, as you're looking at these numbers, just keep in mind that they changed the standards just a couple years ago. And so what has happened is, as you raise the standards really high, you have a time where the score, all the scores drop. And I don't know if this is just me, but this has literally happened in every school district I have ever been in. Just like a year or two into my leadership of whatever it is, they've changed the standards, and you're like, really? Like now? That's what you want to do this? But I just want to highlight again, a couple years ago, they changed the standards. And so what happened is everybody's scores went from the 70s, 80s, and 90s really low, and we're making our way back. And so I think what you're seeing there is that a lot of positive trends from last year, and we're going to continue to move that forward. I will tell you that my perspective on these tests, it's more of a temperature. We want to take the temperature. Are we moving in the right direction? By and large, we are moving in the right direction. We want to continue to provide rigorous and relevant and really dynamic learning experiences for our children. But I also don't want to say that these tests, we're going to live and by these tests, because we know as educators that learning takes place much also the other 179 days that we're in school, not just on the day that they're testing. And so we're just using this as a temperature gauge, and where are we moving in the right direction? We continue to move in the right direction. I think you see that across the board on our stuff. Would you agree with that, Dr. Phillips?
I would agree with that, yes. And I would also bring up the point that in addition to standards changing, we're now we had scale changes on the test. We had mode changes on the test with online testing. And so once all those things get evened out, you're going to see things kind of level out as far as the variability among years. And hopefully what you'll start to see is a more consistent kind of look across years and in a trend sort of mode.
In fact, was this year the first year they've had the same test back-to-back, but the modality changed
It's the first
too?
year under the same scale. So on SC Ready now, they're using a vertical scale across grades. So now we can, in a more quantitative fashion, measure growth from, for example, grade 3 to grade 4 on that test. In the past, what you had was, did they move categories? Well, a kid does not meet standard in grade 3, and they could be really low, and they could move a ton and still does not meet. And we had no way of really knowing that because the scales were different at each grade level. But now that they've done a vertical scale on that, we can say they went from here to here, and that's a good amount of growth.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions for me? Okay, thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Stacy is going to come to us with a human resources update.
All right,
And we're excited to see about some of the changes in his department.
Yes, we appreciate it, Dr. Little and board. There's been a lot of changes that have happened this past year in human resources. If you look up there, you'll see a lot of new faces. We grew enough that we had to go across the hall. So that opened up a little bit of a space in our main part of our office, and you'll see we repurposed that so that we have a place for people to sit now when they come into HR. Dr. Little yelled at us last year because we had substitute teachers sitting out in the hall, and he said, I give you all this space down there, and you got people sitting out there waiting in the hall. So We've moved them into the office now, so we look a little bit more professional. So we're real excited about that. We got off to a great start. If you see that big number there, 2031, that's not my retirement year. That could be more than about half the followers that Dr. Little has on Twitter. We were checking, he's got 3,882 followers. It's twice as many Instagram followers that Lexington 1 has, because they're 1,204. It's 2,030 more friends than Mike Stacy has on Facebook. But what that really represents is the number of employment actions that we had to do this year to start the school year. That includes new hires, transfers, exits, substitute teachers, adjunct coaches, and adjunct employees. If you look at the breakdown, and this doesn't include substitutes and adjunct, but if you look at the breakdown, you'll see how many we've hired, certified support, new hires, exits, and transfers. The number in parentheses on those top two columns are the numbers that we had last year. So you can see how it relates to last year. We had a record year as far as hiring new employees. Last year, Devonna worked diligently with our new teachers, and Kimberly Freeman helped her again Kimberly Freeman helped last year as well. But we had our induction teacher institute. It's a week-long institute for our new teachers to the district. Gives them an opportunity to get acclimated to how we do business in Lexington 1. We had 100 of 116 new teachers participate. We had the mentors come in and give support on one day. And then one day we partnered with the Summer Institute, which is our summer learning program for all of our teachers. And we had over 600 participants at River Bluff High School. So that's been a huge success. I don't know why I keep doing that. This year we started, I told you in the workshop, we talked about pulse surveys. And so we did a recruitment pulse survey. And if you look at this is how people make contact with us. These are new hires to the district. And if you look at it, the big thing that sticks out is community connections, which is 22.9%, and word of mouth, which is 28.9%, which you add those two together, it's about 51%. And the reason we did that is we want to know, how we can move forward. So Kimberly Scott looked at that, and she jumped on the idea that really it is about making connections with our local people. And so she has already reached out to the Teacher Leadership Council to set up to talk to our teacher leaders within the district to see how they can be a part of this recruitment process for our new hires for next year. She's already got a meeting scheduled. And then we've also looked at a strategic plan that builds on relationships. And so she's got scheduled celebrations for student teachers. Now, she did this last year, but she's going to continue that again this year. We're rethinking our in-district recruitment fair. A lot of times when we go to other fairs, what they will do is they'll have like an hour and a half of meet and greet so that teachers can come in and meet administrative teams, or like at a state conference to meet the people within the district. But she's going to set it up so they can meet the administrative teams at each of the schools, and then the schools can then schedule their own interviews for that afternoon. So it's going to give the people that are coming to the fair an opportunity to get in touch with a lot more of our administrative teams. The way it has been in the past, they really got an opportunity to meet just one team. So we think that's going to really grow that. She's already reached out to our colleges and universities for support. Now, I thought I've done a pretty good job of screening people before they come to HR. I was very disappointed when I saw her hugging that thing. I don't know what that thing is up on that left-hand corner, but she actually has that picture in her office now, and she's a Carolina graduate. That's what I don't understand. But we're pretty excited about these opportunities that we've put up as far as building relationships. The second part of our strategic plan is going out beyond our borders. As I told you earlier, there is a teacher shortage in South Carolina. I went to a program, I guess, last year at the University of South Carolina, and there was somebody from the national level, and she spoke, and she told us that there wasn't a national teacher shortage. So we're going to take her on her word, and we've bought Frontline Recruiting and Hiring. It's a new application system, but a part of that is these job boards. So we'll have teacherteacher.com and K-12 JobSpot. And the goal there is to try to attract people to South Carolina and then to Lexington 1. And so when they go on teacherteacher.com from another state, Kimberly's working with a group to think about doing retargeting ads. And you know how the internet works, and they can actually know what you've been visiting, and then, I don't know, there's something in that computer that knows all this stuff. They can actually send an ad back to somebody in, say, Arizona, and talk to them about Lexington School District 1. So we're in the process now of investigating how much that would cost, and hopefully be able to put those in play by this coming spring during the recruiting system. We started Frontline June 25th. That's when we went totally live. And by the 1st of August, we already had 1,200 hits. So we really think that this is a real possibility. Another thing beyond our borders is the capped exempt status for international teachers. Kimberly Freeman has worked with our Teresa Blankenship and our attorneys to get us that exempt status. The benefit of that, it's a little costly, but the benefit of that is that we get international teachers, and historically they've come through some program like EPI, some recruiting service. We get them here and they can only stay here for 3 to 5 years. By the time we get them assimilated to our culture in the United States, we got to send them back. If we're able to provide the H-1B visas for them, we can keep them here. So long term, it's going to be a huge benefit for us. And then we're also using social media to try to recruit outside the state. Other things, we've looked at some other types of recruitment events. Again, the teacher recruitment fair. We attend state and national recruitment fairs. The Pulse survey gives us an indication of which fairs are working for us and which ones might not be, so that we can be more targeted. We know that, for example, Ohio State is a great place to go to look for Chinese teachers. And so that's a big need in our district. And so we've been successful there twice, pulling in some Chinese teachers from that area. So that's why we get that information. Another thing that we captured as one of our significant wins for the year was this idea of the Code of Excellence. It incorporates our community's ethical philosophy and employee behavior expectations into a process for all our employees and supervisors to follow. We began this process last year. We had a committee of stakeholders. We had district level supervisors. Ms. Knight participated. We had building level administrators. We had teachers groups to review the expectations that we have for employees and identify 11 key, I don't know why I can't make this happen one at a time, but 11 key standards that we expect, like demonstrate respect and integrity when interacting with students, parents, staff, community members, and any other stakeholders. So they're very simple, common sense kinds of things that we expect of all our employees. There's a rubric that goes with this, and we were talking about it earlier, it's sort of like setting boundaries. And if you don't continue to hold people to a certain expectation, sometimes they fluctuate from that a little bit, and we'd like to intervene at a very low level and not make it a major deal when it happens. And so we're excited about this process. We trained on it this summer. We actually did some practice runs in the spring, and it's in full implementation starting this coming year. So hopefully next year I can report to you that we had absolutely no issues in HR. That would be awesome. One other thing that we've done that we think, we talked about significant wins in HR and really talked about our strategic plan, and we talked about leadership and how important leadership is to this district. And one of Dr. Little's big initiatives was that, we've got a wealth of talent in Lexington School District 1. And so we really need to tap that talent. And so we started a new process for hiring administrators. We do an all-call for assistant principals. That will start again in October. By the end of January, February, that timeline, we will have probably another 15 or 20 new APs. These are people that are aspiring to be assistant principals that have gone through a rigorous interview process. and we will have tapped them as the next ones to move forward. We do training with the assistant principals. Like I said, if you get into the talent pool, you're not as identified as a principal for the next year. We have ongoing training for those assistant principal candidates to try to get them to be better leaders, give them other leadership opportunities. The huge benefit of this is that when we're hiring leaders, many of our leaders that come within the district, we don't have to spend a lot of time. It's the same thing as acclimating international teachers to our district or to our country. It's the same thing as you hire someone from within outside the district, you've got to get them on board with the strategic plan. They haven't been a part of that whole process. It doesn't mean they can't get on board, but you got to spend some time training them and getting them on board with everyone else. If they come from within our district, you save a lot of time because they're already a part of what we do. So it's a real attribute to have that as a part of our plan. And if you look at the results, 3 years ago, we hired 36% of our administrators came from within the district of the new hires. Over the last 2 years, 82% of those have come from within the district. So this has really worked well for us. The last thing I want to mention is that we've spent a lot of time in HR talking about evaluations. The state has adopted a new teacher evaluation system called the 4.0 rubric. That rubric is all about feedback. It's about a culture of feedback for growth. And so we've modified our assistant principal evaluations to include that. We're looking at all of our support staff evaluations, and we talk about strengths and areas of growth, and we're going to try to grow that into like all our district level personnel evaluations. Everything will be about talking about growth because we can all grow. And we really feel like that's going to change the lens with regards to evaluation and make it more of a positive interaction versus a gotcha kind of deal. Any questions? They told me I had to talk really, really fast.
You did good. Okay. All right. Ms. Smith has a question.
It's not really in with what you're talking about, but can you give us an update on where we are with the bus driver hires?
With the bus driver hires.
I mean, do we have all the bus drivers' positions filled? Or
I'm going to let Mr. Caldwell address
I'm sorry, I thought that was.
No, we do not have them all filled. I don't have the numbers with me. We do have some folks in the pipeline now, and there's training coming up again for a new group, I think, next week. That may have gotten adjusted because of Florence. But keep in mind, once we do get recruits, it takes about 6 to 8 weeks to get them ready to get behind the wheel. So even though we can attract applicants, they have to go through the process, and it takes several weeks. So,
thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Stacy. Mr. Butler's going to talk to us a little bit about enrollment and growth, where we are here around the 15th a day, I believe.
Yeah, thank you. If I can get some help from Josh there. I'm very appreciative of IT. They give us a lot of help. So this is just kind of an overview, a graph that I put together that shows the past 30 years and the growth and number of students. And I think you can see that the one thing that sticks out is we've had steady growth for 30 years. And it doesn't seem like it's going to slow down anytime soon. If nothing, it may actually pick up a little bit. So we basically went from 10,080 students up to 25,511 last year. And Josh, if you'll click on the second tab there. So you can see there's all the different numbers in the years. If you look at last year, we actually grew 616 students. I think we actually projected about 597, so I guess we missed it by about 19 students. Looking for next year, we're looking at a growth of about an additional 634 students. And so if you see what that looks like as of the 15th day, we have 26,023, and if you look up there, you see we're projecting 26,145. But that's just at the 15th day. We'll continue to grow some more since that 15th day as more people are moving in here toward the start of school. Continue to grow throughout the year, I believe. It's been a historical trend. Now, you will see maybe toward the end of the year a slight drop-off from the number we get to because we have early graduations, and then we'll have some dropouts too. But I think that's a pretty good number, the growth for next year being 634 students. If you look at including, now that's just K through 12. If you look at including the pre-K, then we're actually up to 26,750 students as of the 15th day this year. So that's just a real quick overview. One other thing looking here, if you look at the past 30 years, that averages out to 502 students every year. In the first 5 or 6 years, that growth was not as high. So if you look at the last 25 years, that's been an average of 524 students additional each year. So that's kind of where we've been for the past 25 years. And that's even been through a couple of years where we had a little bit of a recession. We still seen growth during those years. So I'll be glad to answer any questions regarding that.
Questions, board? Okay, thank you, Mr.
All
Butler.
right, thank you. Thank you, Josh.
All right, we also have a special treat tonight because I believe this is Adult Education and Family Literacy Month, or Adult Education Month. September is. And so Mr. Barano is here today, and Marla Hamilton as well, and we're looking forward to their presentation on adult education.
Thank you. We are really excited to be here. Thank you for having us here to share with you a little bit about our programs. As Dr. Little said, Adult Education and Family Literacy Month is actually September, but a specific emphasis is next week, September 24th through the 28th. And so I asked Dr. Talley and Dr. Little if we could come share a little bit about what we do at Adult Ed. I know that many of you have come to our graduation ceremonies that I've been a part of over the last 2 years. And I can tell you I've been in education for 22 years, and what we have done, or what I've been a part of in those graduation ceremonies, is by far in the top 5 things that I've ever done in education. So if you haven't been there, and if any of you have not been there, we would strongly encourage you to come share with us in those ceremonies. The next one will be August the 8th, so we've got a little while, but we'd love to have you. So this is Marla Hamilton. She's going to share a little bit about the Parenting Center and the Family Literacy Program. But I want to share with you just a second about some of the quick facts about where we are located, Adult Education and the Parenting Center. We are located at the Rosenwald Community Learning Center. And on the left side, you see the facilities that we have in Adult Ed. We've got 5 instructional classrooms. One of those is a portable that Chris Rabin over AES has graciously giving us an opportunity to take over that portable. We have 2 rooms for office space. Again, one of those is also a portable. We have 1 computer lab with 15 computers in there. Last year alone, we served 388 students in that facility. So we've got a lot going on in there every day. If you ever drive by, especially Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, those are our busy days. There is not a parking space left in our center over there. So Marla's going to share a little bit about the Parenting Center classrooms and then tell you a little bit about her program.
Thank you for the invitation to come here tonight. I oversee the Family Literacy Program, and we have, with Lexington School District 1, been a part of the state Family Lit program since the late 80s. I think it was 88 and 89. Lexington 1 was picked as a district, one of 21 districts that actually participated in a pilot program. And over the years, the things that we've done through the state and the requirements have become a little more intense. And you see there that in 2004, the requirements for a family lit program were to include adult literacy, which would obviously be adult ed and parenting, early care education, parent education, and interactive literacy activities. So I'm going to talk a little bit about those components just so that you know what we're doing at the Parenting Center. This is, Brian and I, we're talking about putting this together, and we actually had a lot more people on that program staff than we could actually recognize on that slide. My staff consists of 4 parent educators, including myself, and 2 early care educators, and I'll let Brian talk in a little bit about his staff. But that slide just represents the people that we depend on to report numbers for family literacy and also to implement the program. I put the mission statement on here. You're all familiar with the overall vision of Lexington 1, to empower each child to design the future. The reason I put that up there is because the Parenting Center and Adult Ed are responsible for also assisting and supporting parents in the district and also the children that are preparing to go to school, or that the parents are preparing to go to school. So I thought it was important to add that. We extend that mission a little bit. I put that one up there because we like that new logo, because empowering parents to be their child's first and most influential teacher is something that is in our curriculum and has been for years and years. These program goals are goals that both Brian and I are required to meet each year for the Family Literacy Grant. The first one is to provide an intensive parent education program focusing on the parent's role as their child's first and most influential teacher. We use a program, it's a national curriculum called Parents as Teachers. The 4 parent educators have been certified and trained in Parents as Teachers for the past approximately 15 years for some of us. And it's just important for you to recognize that we do use an intensive weekly curriculum with our families. The second one, vigorously promote literacy, academic achievement, goal setting, and decision-making skills for all family members. The reason I wanted to emphasize that is because we do promote literacy with our parents through providing books for them at our ILAs, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. We have a very strong partnership with the Lexington Main Library and the State Library, and we also partner with First Steps, and they provide every child that participates in our program enrollment to the Dolly Parton Library. So I think it's important that you know those things. We utilize instructional strategies that are based on scientific research and that are of sufficient intensity and duration to affect change. Obviously, a lot of what Brian's staff does and what our staff does fits that. I can speak to it from our staff. The curriculum that we use is based on the scientific research of the first 3 years of life, and brain development at that time being the most critical time for a child to develop. So it's important for us to get to these families, get to the parents, and get to the children early in the first 3 years. Part of our goal is to support the school district in readying those children for school. Actively encourage participants to make shared literacy experiences a family priority. The reason they have this Family Literacy and Adult Ed Week is to make people aware of the fact that all families do not promote literacy in the same ways. And if we have an adult family member who suffers from some kind of literacy loss, 72% of our children are going to suffer from a loss as well. So we not only have to reach the adult, but we have to reach the adult in helping us train the child in literacy. So that's a real important portion, or a real important goal. And the last one, develop strong employment readiness and retention skills necessary to achieve self-sufficiency in today's competitive job market. Our parent educators obviously are a support system and a resource system, but a lot of that goal and emphasis comes on Brian and his staff at Adult Ed. Program components. These have changed over the years. As I said, they've become a little more intense. There are 5 of them. One is early childhood. We call this early childhood, but a lot of people in our district would call this child care. We get a little offended when it's called child care, or even worse when it's called babysitting, because we have trained workers, we call them early care educators, that actually come to us and they've been trained in the creative curriculum. If you're familiar with the creative curriculum, ours is for the 2s and 3-year-olds, and the creative curriculum is used in our 4K program. So it's a great transition into school. Adult ed component is learner-driven and assists each parent in achieving his or her own educational goal. That kind of falls on both of us because we do set goals with our families. In parenting, we actually use a family model. It's a screening that we use with the family to set their goals, and at our visits, we follow through with those goals. The parenting component, whoops, that's okay. I got it right here. The parenting component, well, I don't have, okay, thank you. It's designed to be both an informational resource and peer support group into participating families. We do have a small parenting portable that's designed just for resources. So when our families come in, we not only have resources for them to be able to connect to community resources, but we also have things available to them like a Spanish English library, and we also have another library. We got a big donation last year from just a private resident, and she delivered $1,500 of books to us. So we've opened our little library, and the parent educators chose to call it our Eaglet Library. So it's our little eagles. So we've got resources at the center. Interactive literacy, you'll see just a brief snippet of one of our interactive literacy sessions. We offer these 3 times a month. The reason we do them 3 times a month is intentional. We want to make sure that our families in adult ed have an opportunity to get to at least 1 interactive literacy session a month. This is designed for the parent and child. We have resources that we use. If you're familiar with what we used to have as weekly readers, there is a preschool version of that called My Big World. We use that with our families. We always focus around a book, and we always have someone from the library to do a story time with us. The personal visits, as I said before, that's through parents as teachers, and it does provide a one-on-one individualized visit with the parent and child so they know where their child is developmentally. It comes complete with screenings. We do ages and stages, which again our district uses to screen for the 3-year-old and 4-year-old programs. So we've been trained in those as well. These we just put in there to kind of personalize the program a little bit for you. These are some pictures of some of our personal visits. The one that I particularly like is the one on the right. It looks like she's holding a baby doll. That's not a baby doll, that's a real baby, and she is receiving her very first visit after the baby is born with PAT. And we discuss the importance of bonding with children. You'll see the way she's holding her. We talk about language development, and we talk about facial recognition. This is our multicultural program. We are celebrating 16 years this year with our partnership with the Lexington Main Library. You may have seen the marquees up there that say Dia de los Muertos and Feliz Navidad. These started out as a cultural program for mostly our Spanish-speaking families. However, we have grown over the years, and we now serve 5 or 6 languages at any given time in that early child care program. I just called it child care, early childhood program. So we definitely want to highlight the other languages as well. So you'll see families participate, they do their part, they come and they bring their food, they come and they do their dance, they come, and we have a great story time that's offered at that time. Gigi is usually the one that does story time in Spanish. We'll have somebody do story time in English, and all other parents, whatever language they speak, they will do the story time, which really for preschoolers gets pretty interesting because One of the things I learned is that like even animal sounds are different in all different languages. So it really becomes entertaining to watch those. Story time. Family Lit collaboration with adult ed. We do offer that early childhood, but we only offer it in the morning sessions. So we're open 5 mornings a week, and you'll see those pictures are taken. The 2 at the top are taken from classrooms over in adult ed, and the one at the bottom, I think, was our year-end event last year. It was, we had Adventure come out and bring activities to do on the sidewalks of our parenting center, and the families enjoy going to those. School-based interactive literacy activities, I mentioned those before, or I mentioned the ones that we do at the center, but we also try to do interactive literacy at our schools. We enlist the help of our school librarians at the schools. We have them do the story time, we'll bring a lesson, and we do have an individual portable in Peelian. In Gilbert, we do a school-based ILA, but we just have that one in the library. Group Connections, we are sponsored through First Steps. We're actually one of their vendors, as are all of the school districts in Lexington County. So every year they will sponsor a trip for us to go to the zoo. We go on a free Friday because we can all get in, and then First Steps pays for a lunch, and the parent educators provide the entertainment. We always put together some kind of scavenger hunt or some kind of activity that's related to literacy. And this one we're going to need a little help from Josh on. This is just Maria Arroyo has been excellent. She's one of our parent educators. I didn't ask them to come tonight, but they came. She's excellent on getting our story out by tweeting the different ILAs. So this is just one example of an ILA, and then she tweeted this out. This one is on seeds. It's kind of like an early STEM activity. Oh, no. Okay, and I think the next slide is back to Brian.
All right, thank you, Marla. I've got a couple things I just want to share with you about our adult education program and exactly how we run that. And we've got 4 basic programs through adult education. We've got a high school diploma program, GED preparation. We do English as a second language classes. And then we have a free Thursday night computer class that we offer to the community, which I took some flyers and some information out to food services when they had their beginning of the year meeting and our transportation staff, and our classes just blew up for this session that we're doing now. We've probably had 20 to 25 at each one of those sessions, which is a lot more than we generally have. So that's had a renewed interest in there. A little bit about each one of those. Our high school diploma program, we use Edgenuity just as our high schools do. We have course offerings in all the core subjects. We have students that come to us and will do those through Edgenuity from home. We have 6 certified staff members throughout the district that act as our teachers of records for those core courses and can meet with students when they're having if they're having issues, needing some extra support, they can meet with those and work through those together. Our GED prep classes, our main program is Monday through Thursday from 9 to 12 right there in our center. We have 2 classrooms that we use for that. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, first of all, let me tell you, the Monday through Thursday is GED preparation. The Tuesday, Thursday class is for students who are what we consider pre-GED. They're working on literacy skills. They're not quite ready to take the practice test and to engage in the GED testing. So we're working on some of the basic skills with that group on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We also have an evening class Tuesday and Thursday nights from 4:30 to 7:30. And again, we do reading and math, and we also hit social studies and science, which are the 4 components of the GED. We have 5 staff members that work in our as instructors in those programs. Our ESL program, we changed things a little bit this year. We're going Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9 to 12. We have a beginner, intermediate, and advanced class offerings for those folks. We have 4 current staff members that are working as instructors for that program, and then also they join our Tuesday, Thursday evening classes with the GED. We changed that schedule for them, 5:30 to 8, gives some folks, a lot of times our folks that take advantage of those classes in the ESL program at night are ones who are working all day and then come to us at night, so we recognize that and moved it from 5:30 to 8. So just some quick data about what we have done last year. Last year we served 148 students in our GED program throughout the morning and evening programs. We had 81 students enrolled in our diploma track program, 158 students served through our ESL program. There's supposed to be another part of that slide right there that says ages 18 to 79 is our oldest ESL student that we work with. So same thing with the GED program. Our students are anywhere from the ages of 17, and the highest or the oldest GED student that we had this past year was 53. So high school diplomas earned, we awarded 26 high school diplomas through our program and 39 GEDs, and those are the folks that you met when you came to graduation. Family literacy data, Marla's got some numbers here for you. We had 23 students that participated in the early childhood program, 28 families enrolled in First Steps, and in those interactive literacy activities, the ILAs, she had 95% attendance for those weekly activities, which is fantastic that those students of mine that are in adult ed and their children could meet together and work on literacy activities. 18-19, this current school year, what our data looks like so far, we've got 80 students enrolled in our GED program, 78 enrolled in the diploma program, 75 in ESL. One thing that I'm really proud of is we worked with some of our high schools this summer, some of our students who didn't quite make it across the stage at our high schools. They came to me and finished through adult education, and 8 of the 11 diplomas that we've awarded this summer helped our schools improve their graduation rates this year. So it was a really good partnership with some of our local high schools and their administrators. And I could tell you a whole lot about our program, and I could go into each of my staff members. I could tell you how much I love my job. I absolutely love my job because this is my heart right here. You don't know my story, but my story includes some of the same struggles that these folks have gone through. I failed the 4th grade and I failed the 9th grade when I was growing up. Some of that was my problems. Some of it was just some other issues that we had going on. But I see these students walk into my door every day, and I immediately connect with them. And I share my story with them. And these are 4 of our success stories over the last year and a half that I've been involved in adult ed. If you look on the left side, that's Deborah. Deborah came to us in April of 2017, 43 years after she dropped out of high school. She's 58. She sat through graduation ceremonies. Her 3 daughters graduated. She was our graduation speaker a couple of years ago. You may recognize her from that. But she sat through graduation ceremonies with her daughters and cried her eyes out at those ceremonies. Number one, because she was so proud of her daughters. Secondly, because she realized at that moment what she had given up when she dropped out of school 43 years before that. So she came to us in April. She worked with our teachers in the night program for about 3 months, passed all 4 sections of the GED, and accomplished a bucket list item for her. So we were real proud of her. The second picture is a gentleman who grabbed my heart a couple of years ago in my previous job. His name is Quintel. Quintel and I go way back. We met several times. He had a bit of a struggle in our traditional high school settings and decided that he wanted to come to adult ed and work on his GED. Met with him, taught with him, worked him through our morning program. Quintel graduated, passed all 4 sections of the GED, and he is now enrolled at Newberry College working on a business administration degree. He is a fantastic story of perseverance and overcoming obstacles. Some of the obstacles were his own doing, but just like me, he has done that. The next picture right there is Kaylin. Kaylin had some family issues come up when she was 17. She moved out from her home and got married at a very young age and came to us in our diploma track program needing 8 credits to graduate. She completed all 8 of those credits, but what makes her such a story to me is February 13th of 2018, her husband and her grandfather were killed in a car accident. I'm going to get choked up just thinking about this, but got killed in a car accident. At that point, she had completed 4 of her courses with us. She was pregnant and due in August and wanted to make something of herself so that her child would have a better growing up environment. So she buckled down through all that adversity and finished her last 4 credits with us. She graduated with us in May, and she is now enrolled at Midlands Technical College seeking a nursing degree. So she is another fantastic story. And then the last one is Rosa. Rosa is one of the folks that Marla and I have shared. Last year, she came to us for GED preparation and was a single parent. She took advantage of what we have to offer for family literacy. And through the screenings that Marla talked about a little while ago, not only did she finish the GED with us, but her child is now involved in our 3K program and our early intervention programs because of the screenings that Marla and her staff did. So these are just 4 stories. I could tell you story after story of students. This is what drives me to do what I do every day and why I love my job. Thank you for letting us share with you tonight. We really appreciate that.
Thank you, Brian.
All right, and thank you very much for that. Very, very enlightening presentation. We have also, if you'll look, our next report is Mr. Jeff Salters, who I believe is going to talk about something exciting about the name of or the possible name, rather, of our new middle school.
All right. Waiting on drop. There we go. Well, good evening, board members. Want to bring to you tonight, take the opportunity, while we will talk about the name, I did want to take the opportunity to share a few pictures with you this evening. We made some significant progress out on the site. As mentioned earlier, you guys did have a tour scheduled for last night. Apologize that was not able to happen due to the rain. We did get some 5 inches of rain on that site over the last few days. Nothing like what has been received across the state, but that brings the total there to about 20 inches in the last month on that site. So it's pretty unbelievable that we have been able to make the progress we have, but we're very excited about it. This is a shot from the front of the building just to remind you about the orientation. 378 is down on the bottom, and then Beechwoods Drive would be over on the left-hand side. The Summer Lake neighborhood would be up in the right corner there. Of course, your classroom wings are on the left, main office area, and then we've got our gymnasium here, little theater here, and cafeteria in the back. And here's another shot from a different angle there, and we're obviously going to have to get this clicker changed. It wants to get out of here faster than we do. Yeah, it's not just you, Mike. And several other shots from the air. And again, the black areas you see that's roofing going on. Actually, now I was out there today. This area, the A wing has a roof over it. This is all covered in roof deck as well. So really making some good progress. We'll just kind of speed through these pictures here. Playfield again is up on the top of the site. Parking here, there will be a long drive. You can actually see the drive there. That's parent drop off, and it will end up coming out and through the front here. And here's a shot of our first stairwell that was placed in the building. So we're inside the A classroom wing. And then this is a shot looking out over the center commons area. There actually will be a stairwell there. And then this is a kind of a gathering area for students. The learning commons is on the right. And if I can get back, this is the cafeteria looking from the second story down into the cafeteria. You can see it was a little muddy out there today, so it would not have been very conducive to walking around. But this will be a nice view, shade structure there for the cafeteria space and for some outdoor dining availability there. This is actually looking at from the cafeteria over to the gymnasium area. This will be a courtyard space for students to do some outdoor learning. There's some, you're looking here at the chorus and band classrooms, or the art classrooms are right here. And then the cafeteria is on the left, and so you'll be able to move around about that center courtyard area. This is a shot looking at one of the classroom wings. Again, 2-story classroom space there. Some of the joists going in on that second story. And then again, here's some roofing material that's been applied on that, and more ceiling preparation there. And some masonry work going on, and that's kind of at the back end of the building on that last classroom wing. So good bit of work going on, probably over 125 people out there working on the job site, which is very good staffing given the weather that we've had. Now we'll move on to the business at hand of naming the new middle school. As you recall, you guys have a policy related to naming of facilities. Policy FF, and then Administrative Rule FF-R governs that process. And in summary, that process, short of someone bringing forth a large donation check and wanting to put their name on the facility, the policy outlines a process where we meet with community members and superintendent or designees, work with the community and do some historical research and gather recommendations, and we look to try to name facilities after significant either things that have occurred in the community in the area, or geographic things that are there. And so in doing that, we've met with a number of community members, neighbors of the school and others in the area, and there does not in this particular case appear to have been any kind of historic school site, like, for example, was at New Providence Elementary or anything like that. And so we've, in our suggestions and looking at, and now the clicker doesn't want to go at all. There we go. In looking at the different discussions that we had with community, several names came to the forefront. The first name came out, Beechwood Middle School, and Beechwood is referenced because of the number of beechwood or beech trees that are in that area. Of course, there's Beechwood Drive adjacent to the school, and so that has a relevance to the types of trees in the area. Lake Murray Middle School, obviously, if you look at the aerial photos, Lake Murray is just a stone's throw away from the area. And that name has come to, was brought for consideration. And then Oak Hill Middle School. And this came because some of the community actually referenced that the top site where the playfield is kind of as Oak Hill for their little neighborhood there. And so, each of these has their merits and worth consideration. One of the things that I would point out about Lake Murray Middle School, that name, there are already 2 elementary schools named Lake Murray, ours being one of them, and one in Lexington, Richland 5. That tends to cause some issues. We do get some mail frequently from the other Lake Murray. Can I tell your story, Dr. Little? Dr. Little called me. I don't know how long he'd been in the district. It wasn't long. Maybe about a week, and he said, Jeff, he was on the phone. He said, he's going to Lake Murray Elementary School for a talk, and he'd put Lake Murray Elementary in his GPS, and as he's riding along, he's talking about crossing the dam and going over into this. I said, what are you doing? And he'd actually put in the other Lake Murray Elementary School, so that was a little problematic. But Lake Murray Middle, the other challenge that presents is Lake Murray Elementary School, while we haven't done attendance line zoning at this point, by naming it Lake Murray Middle, it would imply that all of the students that go to Lake Murray Elementary would go to that facility, and that may or may not always hold true. So we like for each facility to be able to stand alone when there's not an adjacent facility similar to Pleasant Hill Elementary Middle or Meadow Glen when they're right beside each other. And so that name may be a little tricky going forward, but that's something to consider. Of course, we also have an Oak Grove Elementary, and of course, we've mentioned Pleasant Hill, so those names also might be lend themselves to a little confusion. So at this point, the administration is recommending for consideration the name Beechwood Middle School. And what we would do is ask you to consider that over the next month, and you'll, I'm sure, hear some feedback from community, and we would bring that back for an action item at the next board meeting in October. Okay. With that, I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Mr. Salters.
My computer went to sleep. Apologize. So I believe that concludes my report. There is a policy that we have down for 11.2, but we are not bringing that forward tonight. The weather has pushed that back, and we will bring that forward in October.
Okay. So we'll go to item 12.0, and those are items for board information only, and I just need a motion to adjourn. Okay, thank you, Dr. Pitts, and a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. All in favor, please stand up. Y'all drive very safely, and we'll see you next time.